Japan's new problem. Batsukari. Batsukari? What's batsukari?
Japan has a new problem. Harassment of people and physical assaults are increasing day by day. For
Oh, Jesus Christ. Whoa. Oh my god, what is happening?
a while, it seemed like Kasuhara, better known as customer harassment, where people abuse retail workers due to their inability to fight back, was the biggest problem. But things got even worse once chikan, men who sexually harass young girls, became a problem so big that even separating men and women during the rush hour wasn't enough to stop it. And just when it
Oh, god. Oh god. Oh no.
seemed like things couldn't get any worse, a third form of harassment has now emerged in Japan.
What the hell? The fuck is your problem? What the fuck? Huh? Bro, it's just literally just, whoa, that's so fucking rude doing it to girls. The problem is they're doing it to females because they know for a fact that the females can't do anything.
Japan is often seen as one of the safest and most polite countries in the world.
What?
And while that has historically been true, recently something has happened that has changed everything. This didn't happen overnight.
What the fuck? Excuse me? What is happening over there?
Since for a long time, Japan has been boiling underneath. Decades of social pressure, overwork, and emotional repression have created a large group of people who feel invisible in Japanese society and powerless to control their lives, which eventually leads them to take out their anger on innocent people around them.
What the
These
hell?
are called batsukari.
Batsukari?
Batsukari are people who physically assault random bypassers during rush hour when there are many people around and they can quickly vanish into the crowd. These random attacks usually happen inside train stations during the mornings when the crowds are massive.
If I have my kid or so, right, and my kid, has this issue or so, I'd be like, bro, they got some problems, man.
And people are in hurry. Times like these are an opportunity for a batsukari to attack someone in the crowd and quickly escape from the crime scene before the victim or anyone else has time to react. The most common way for a batsukari to assault people is to slam onto them with their shoulder as hard as they can in the crowd. This is even
Don't worry, I'll just hit them with my elbow. That's it, I know. These guys think they're so tough doing it on girls,
where their name comes from, since batsukari in English basically means a slammer. However, the term batsukari is essentially
Look at this girl. She's just minding her own
basically means a
business. Look at this.
However,
She's literally minding her own business. Look at her. She's just walking. She's just walking with her phone, listening to music, and this random woman is just walking that way too, and then just completely like.
the term batsukari
Look at this. She just moves out of the way, and then look at this girl. She just raises her fucking arm and starts hitting her.
Batsukari is essentially an umbrella term for all the people who physically assault random bypassers in the
fuck?
crowd. These can include kicking someone or something, pushing people around, and any other form of physical contact. Some batsukari even go as far as causing permanent damage to their victims, like in the case that happened in Tamachi Station recently. A man who was on his way to work was approached by a stranger walking on the wrong side of the road. This stranger then forcefully slammed onto the man and continued walking. But then, after the victim had turned his back to the situation, he could hear the man running towards him from behind, and as he turned his head to look, he was sucker punched to the head by the stranger who slammed onto him.
What? What the hell? I'm just letting you know. If my son Like, if my son has to deal with this thing, I'm gonna tell him, make sure you hit him back, but 10 times harder, okay? All right? I'll teach him how to use his void powers, you know? Because I know for a fact my kids will have void powers 1000%. There's no buts, if, or ands from my partner, okay? They will have void powers.
The stranger then grabbed the man by the collar and started kicking him to the head with his knee while shouting, "Don't underestimate us local people." After the altercation, the victim was then rushed to the hospital where he had to spend 2 weeks due to his injuries.
Some people are walking around completely on edge, ready to snap. Yep, but like, just letting you know, my son, if my son happens to this or so to him, you know for a fact my son is. I'm telling him, don't take shit from nobody, okay? All right. If they aggressively assault you, you can beat the shit out of them. You can use your void powers. I would give you. You are free to use your void powers as much as you want on them. So. Liver shot will drop basically anyone but a pro fighter. I'm not violent, but I make exceptions in these types of situations. Yeah, that makes sense. Hell,
These
Bino.
kind of incidents aren't just random acts of
Pre-firing
violence,
hay.
since batsukari are a
Pre-firing
well-known epidemic
indeed.
in Japan, and it's only getting worse day by day. According to a survey, 14% of people in Japan have been victims of a batsukari. However, some online surveys show even higher numbers. However,
Oh, that's interesting.
some online surveys show even higher numbers. Most of these cases happen in large cities, and there's a clear correlation between the population and the cases. The bigger the city, the more batsukari there are. One of the most common excuses by batsukari is that they're fighting against so-called arukismaho, people who walk while looking at their smartphones.
Bro, look, this woman attacks this woman. She's not even looking at her phone, but this woman is looking at her phone. She's looking straight towards this person here. And she attacks this person, but doesn't attack this person. Tell me where the logic is that. Tell me. Where is it at? Where's the logic in that? There's no logic here. She's literally clearly looking upwards, not even at her phone. But this girl's looking at her phone. I think it is just an excuse, to be honest, at this point. I was like, ah, hell no, dude. That's a BS-ass excuse I've ever heard in my entire life. If I see a woman attacking me when I go to Japan, all I gotta say, man, the Latina is gonna come out inside of me, and I'm gonna start going ham with my Latina side. Trust me, you don't want to see me go crazy with my Latina side.
When confronted, many of them claim they're just teaching a lesson to the people glued to their phones, but in reality, it's just an excuse to justify random aggression. The interesting and unsurprising thing in all of this is that there seems to be a higher chance of getting assaulted the smaller in stature you are, which is why most of the victims are young women.
Oh my fucking god, of course. They're picking on shorter people. Okay, buddy. Okay.
According to most of the surveys, women are the main victims of batsukari, as can even be seen in all of these videos that I found online. There also seems to be a higher chance of getting assaulted the younger you are, and many times the attacks can be just as vicious, even—
I'm gonna be honest with you, if I actually saw this on a train, if I literally see this on a train, I'm stepping in. I don't care. I don't care if I get in trouble. I'm stepping in for them. I'd be like, bro, back the fuck off. What's your problem, bro? You wanna start something? I got my older brother here. You two can settle it right now. Fucking ass. God, dude, I hate these kinds of people.
if you're young. As for example, in another recent case, a young woman was stopped at the station by a man telling her she was getting in his way. When the man got the woman's attention, he then punched her in the chest, which caused her to break her ribcage. Most of the
hell no, dude. If that happened to me, someone gonna get beat up. someone is gonna get beat up. I swear to God, if they do that to me, oh man, nah, dude. If they actually do that to me and they break my rib or so, like for that shit, I will straight up, no joke, unleash the void on them.
Batsukari seem to be older men, and since they tend to attack women and smaller people, to me it seems like these are troubled people with anger issues who then take their anger out to people in the most pussy way possible.
True.
By secretly slamming onto people much smaller than them because they're too cowardly to face their issues or their victims. The problem with trying to stop these batsukari is that since they do it quickly and silently in a crowd while also pretending it's an accident, it's essentially almost impossible to convict them.
I am chasing his ass. The moment he does that to, if anybody does that to me when I go to Japan, you know for 1,000% fact I'm gonna chase his ass down. I'm gonna do some parkour shit on his ass.
Even though it does count as a physical assault, it's hard to prove intent to their slamming, and unless it's caught on camera or the batsukari confesses, they pretty much always walk free. Considering how common the batsukari are, this is one of those things I'd like to warn all of you about when you're coming to Japan. Now obviously I'm not saying it will happen to you, but just be mentally prepared in case it happens. Since I've read many stories from people online who say their trip was ruined once they were attacked. If we just search shoulder check Japan on Reddit, we will be greeted with many posts like this. Recently, I went on an 8-day trip to Tokyo, but throughout those 8 days, I've been shoulder checked.
People like this get stabbed in the hood.
Oh yeah, no. If you mess with the wrong person, you're gonna get sucker punched real badly. And trust me, you don't want to mess with me. You straight up do not want to mess with me with this quote unquote shoulder check.
Times 5 out of 8 of those days. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen to you this much, since this seems a bit excessive, but the point is, it happens. It became so frequent that my family began to also retaliate by shoulder checking back the individuals.
Yeah, I would actually, like, if I go to Japan, right, I'll bring someone, right? And then, like, if they try to do that to me, you know for a fact, of course it'll probably be a male friend or so that'll do that, right? I'll tell him, you know, they did the shoulder check thing, and then he'll probably do the same thing as well. I'd be like, fuck, I'll tell him to keep doing it, you know?
Now, I understand the feeling, and to be honest, I would probably start doing the same myself, but at the same time, I can't really say that starting to shoulder check people back is the most noble course of action here.
Nah, man, bro, no. If they start something, if they want to start something, let them start something. It's basically fuck around and find out. They're fucking around, so let them find out. You know, it's simple as that, man. I'm sorry, I'm not a violent person or anything like that, but if they want to fuck around or something, you best be ready to find out what happens afterwards with the shoulder check.
However, I can't help but blame myself for it, as if I deserve this for being a tourist in Japan. How can I at least mitigate getting shoulder checked next time I come back? For reference, I am a Chinese woman and didn't speak much Japanese, so I did communicate in Mandarin to my family. Yeah, this is kinda the sad state of affairs at the moment, that Japanese people aren't really too fond of Chinese tourists, or by any tourist by that matter. But, like, don't get scared. Like, you will have great time in Japan and 99% of people will be nothing but nice to you. But, you know, there's a lot of tourism in Japan right now, tensions are high, and there will be racist anywhere you go in the world. Quick rant, my spouse and I were walking through Shinjuku station with a local friend to grab lunch. As we walked by the west exit, an older Japanese man punched me hard in the ribs next to my right breast. It was a well-aimed punch as I was wearing a small backpack, so he managed to hit just between my arm and a back as I walked by. Aw, that sucks.
Oh, hell nah, dude. Hell nah, dude. The moment they touch anywhere near my breast or so, they're losing an arm.
As you can see, even from this story, It's not like the
Hell
Butsukari will
no,
always,
no, to the
shoulder
no,
slam you
no,
hard, because
no.
sometimes they might do other things. Like in this woman's case, she said that the older Japanese man punched her really hard to her, rib cage. I was shocked. When I turned to look, he raised both his fists and shook them in my face. In retrospect, I wish I'd grabbed his hand and yelled for a guard, but I just hurried away and he disappeared into the crowd.
No, dude. If that shit is happening, I'm tackling his ass down, dude. I'm straight up tackling his ass down. No. Well, he could say goodbye to his family jewels, I could probably do that, I'd be like, what are you talking about? I never hit this person and their family jewels. How can you prove it? It's just all lies at the end of the day,
I didn't post this to scare anyone away from Shinjuku Station or from traveling in Japan in general. I'm feeling a bit raw about it, that's all. That last part that she said is a really good thing to say.
That's true.
And that is also the message I want to leave all you guys with. Japan is a wonderful country
Of course.
with wonderful people.
Yeah.
But just like any country, it has its problems and its crazy people.
Yeah,
Right?
there's what Asmongold said. There are two types of people in this world: Karens. I don't know what the other person is, but yeah, Karens is all I know. These people are probably just Karens. They're Karens. There's Karens everywhere. These people are just crazy, in my personal opinion. Incels? Is that the other one for Asmongold? What he said? Okay. Yeah, but honestly, it's absurd, to be honest. I don't know. I don't really approve of this.
Right now, the government is trying to take countermeasures against Butsukari,
That's good.
for example, by separating the roads to encourage people to not walk towards each other.
That's good.
None of this will really help in the end though,
True.
since big cities like Tokyo are gonna have their problems and people like this will always exist. In the end, the scary part of Butsukari isn't that they exist, it's the fact that they've learned how to blend in and you'll never know when you become a target.
If they try anything like that to me, for a damn fact my friend is not gonna accept that. For a fact he'll probably tackle his ass down. I'll probably smack him with my bag or something, Nah, dude, I don't like that. Nah, that ain't cool, bro. That's not cool at all. Oof, man, I would probably, if I could, I would probably grab him with my tentacle or so and just drag his ass on the ground or so, Nah, dude, that ain't cool, dude. That's not cool whatsoever. I don't approve of that, dude. I feel sorry. If I actually see that or so in Japan or so, whenever I visit in Japan, if I see that in general, like an actual Japanese woman, because they're doing this to Japanese women, right? Because they're smaller, if they're doing that to them or so, I'm gonna step in. I don't care if I get in trouble. I will step in because I don't accept that. I don't. If I get in trouble, that's fine, but I'm gonna be like, you want to know something? I don't accept that whatsoever. I don't accept the butsukari. It's just not cool. Cowards know they would get vibe checked if they assault guys. Oh yeah, no, 1000%, definitely 1000%. If I brought my male friend over with me or so to Japan, for a fact anybody who tries to mess with me will probably be ending up in the hospital. Guys, go to JP, spot a shoulder slammer, rescue your future JP wife. Oh my god, this plan is valid. You guys are unbelievable. I swear. Oh my god. Oh my lord, you guys are so absurd at this point, yeah. Time to visit Japan. Oh my goodness gracious me. Yeah, no, for me personally, I don't accept this. I'd be like, nah, bro, you need to chill, bro. You need to chill out before I make you chill out, all right? I don't care how old you are. You need to chill out, sir, all right? Because apparently it's a lot of the guys that are doing it to the girls, apparently, so. Because they're just smaller, and I'm just like, wow. Why don't you pick on someone your own size? Oh, wait, you won't. Because you know for a fact the moment that you do start doing it to a guy, you're gonna get your shit knocked out. So, but yeah. Anyways. Like I said, they're just bullies. They're just a bunch of bullies. Kirk ate raw. That is the strategy to get a waifu and get the 70k to... Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. That's not even real, okay? Alright? Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. But yeah, no, I don't approve of this. I don't approve of this. They should try that with Latinas. That'd be a death wish. That's funny because I am part Latina. If they try doing that to me, I'm just letting you know that it's not gonna end well. It's definitely not gonna end well with me. That's all I gotta say, bro. That's it, bro. Definitely, if I bring my one of my male friends or so to Japan with me, it's not gonna end well. That's all I gotta say. That guy will probably end up in the hospital, but you know. But yeah, just be kind to people, bro. It ain't that hard. It ain't that easy. When the hair gets fluffed and the earrings get put away, it's over. Yep. The moment I tie my hair up or so, moment I tie up my hair and you know, take off all my jewelry. Yeah, we're going. We're going. We're starting this shit. But yeah. Throw them hands. We throwing them hands around here, bro. We're doing Latina style. Puro Latina. Anyways. Yeah. Just be kind, bro. It's not that serious. You don't take your anger out at other people, okay? All right? I think the Japanese people are cool. I have a couple Japanese friends and I think they're awesome to talk to. But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And peace.